Okay, welcome to another PESTED training video. I'm Kevin Hurley. Today we're just going to do a fairly quick application following the label for a claim. This is primarily a pesticide, a herbicide used for the control of Johnson grass, Bermuda grass, but a lot of people like it because it's very specific to crabgrasses and it won't harm your turf as long as you follow the label rate. Now, we have another video that we're going to show how to mix and talk about this Birchmeyer backpack sprayer. But for today, we just want to do a shot of doing some spot applications. I'm a big proponent of spot applications around homes. I mean, you could actually take a claim and you could treat the whole lawn with it if you had the specific pests listed here, such as crabgrass. But I like to go around and find crabgrass and just hit it in certain spots. It totally reduces the amount of pesticide in the environment, and the applicator does not have to spend so much time and money. But that's totally up to what you need as long as you follow the label. The active ingredient is phenoxaprop, and we're going to put it down at 0.46 ounces per gallon, which we're going to use in about 1,000 square feet. And that's because the crabgrass we're going to go look at is already in a multi-tiller stage. So 4 or 5 tillers, and you're going to see that. Now, the manufacturer of this doesn't make any guarantees. If you're in the like 6, 7 tiller stage, they're saying it may not even work. My experience has been it does work. So we're going to do a shot today, and then we're going to come back in a few days and show you if there's any chlorosis or yellowing of the plant itself. And just a couple highlights. You'll notice it's about 85 degrees today. I'm wearing a long sleeve shirt, long pants, shoes and socks. That's not just the WPS. The WPS section of the label is even more strict. That's for regular commercial handlers. So I feel for you guys if you're out there and it's 90 degrees and you're down in Tampa. Technically, all applicators and handlers of this product must wear long sleeve shirts. So it's going to be hot out there. The manufacturer says it's going to work in about 4 to 10 days. I've seen it work in about 4 days. It could take longer depending on how old and mature the crabgrass already is. Just a couple highlights there. You can use it on Kentucky bluegrass, perennials. You can also use it around a lot of ornamentals, which I'll go to in a minute. Again, we're not going to spend a lot of time on the label yet. Smooth crabgrass, large crabgrass, and goosegrass, which we have a lot of around here, and foxtail. We also have a lot of that in the Northeast. They talk about resistant management. 1 tiller to 2 tillers, 0.46 per gallon or per 1,000 square feet, however you want to use it. I'm going to use it as a spot treatment. But if you have evergreen trees and shrubs, the manufacturer has a whole list of them here that you won't harm using this product, like your junipers, magnolias, Japanese maples, English ivy, dogwood, flowering dogwood. So you can spray this around the base to kill different weeds without having to worry about harming those those particular species, as long as you don't over apply and you follow the label. One of the interesting things on this label here, it says, do not mow the treated area. It takes about 24 hours for it to soak in, or up to 24 hours to penetrate that plant. So the manufacturers put a sticking agent in there too, so you'll see it really binds to the plant. But you don't want to put it out, let's say mid-morning, and then bring your lawnmowers in later in the afternoon. That's really cutting your foot off. It's cutting your grass, but it's also not going to kill that it's not going to kill that crabgrass or whatever species you're trying to control. And I think that's it for the highlights here. A lot of this stuff has to do with ornamental applications and rights-of-way, so we're not going to get into it right now. The label also says you must wear chemical-resistant gloves when applying, not just mixing. So a lot of these labels will say when handling the concentrate, you must use rubber gloves or even like the speed zone label will say you must use rubber gloves when handling the concentrate and a chemical resistant apron. Again, that's another presentation we also have. It's about a medium size 4-gallon Birchmeier backpack sprayer. It's only got a gallon in. It's already been mixed. We did that before shooting. We put 0.46 ounces in this gallon, and now we're going to go around the property and we're going to spot treat areas that we know we have different types of crabgrass and other listed pests on the label. So these are, you got to be a little careful when you're first putting them on. Make sure you don't get all tangled up. But it's got a nice little latch here, which makes it fairly easy, and the latch is always on the side of the spray mechanism. So, cameraman, come on with me. Now the thing about a Birchmeier is you want to pump them up. You want to pump them up, but you don't want to over pump them. If you over pump them, you're going to break. See, the compressed air is external. It's in that little tube-shaped doohickey back there. And if you keep doing it, if you keep overdoing it and making that pressure really high, you're going to blow it and it's going to break. So I'm going to hit that. There's the spot treatment. One thing we're not in any shortage of in this particular lawn is crabgrass. So generally around the edges here, there's a lot of it growing in different stages. We have bluegrass on the fringe, and we go into crabgrass. I'm not going to just hit these, because in this area there's a lot of raspberries and blackberries. So we're going to kind of keep the pesticides away from this ecotone. It's pretty much natural, and we're just going to let it be. But up here, there has been some new lawn planted. So in this new lawn was planted a month and a half ago, about, and it's 80% blue, 20% ryegrass, and we just kept watering it and letting it go. So in the dirt, if you'll back up a little bit, can we shoot from over here? Too much sun? How about from over here? So we've let this grow up all by itself there's nothing been put on here except water and a little fertilizer. So we got different crabgrasses growing up, smooth crabgrasses, and we have some other weeds growing up too. So we're going to hit this crabgrass. Some of the pesticide, the herbicide, is going to go onto the other weeds as well, and we'll come back in a few days and see what effect it has on them. So this is a crabgrass application. Got that one. Now this crabgrass is fairly advanced, so you may not see a claim working. Though I have confidence it will work, but the manufacturer says when it gets so big, it may not work. You may have to hand pull them. We have some really big crabgrass over here we've been saving for our viewers. On this lawn we can cultivate crabgrass like nobody's business. So I'm going to come over here. Maybe you want to be in the shade. Can you get a shot of this crabgrass? This is crabgrass. Multi-tillered, coming up. It's beautiful. The problem is it's growing in the middle of the sidewalk. We don't want that. So we got some other creeping ivies and clovers, chickweed and crabgrass. Dandelions were in there, and we're just going to hit it. Now they want you to apply it to the point of runoff, so I'm going to apply it to the point of runoff. I'll hit a few of these. We'll see what happens. We have these tillers probably about just over 2 feet wide. Now the nice thing about this application, and why I have confidence that this, even at this late stage in the game, that this is going to work, is because this part of the property gets sun almost all day long, from about 10 o'clock till sunset. And that's what really makes this product work. as those plants are growing, they're going to absorb this and die, which is also why Acclaim works really good on smaller plants when they're in that vegetative stage, when they're growing really fast. That's what makes this product work. So by the time you get here, I would normally just pull these weeds. I would just pull them up by hand. But for the sake of this presentation and for the experiment to see how long they work, or rather how effective it works on the older plants, we're going to do it this way and see what happens. I think we have a couple more shots we're going to go to in a second. Okay, now we're over in another section of the property. You'll see that there are zucchinis growing here. So we want to be very careful about drift. Now today there's there's a little bit of wind, 3-4 miles an hour, but with a handheld sprayer, and we're just going to do a spot treatment. We have some weeds in here. We have definitely some lamb's quarter. We have some crabgrass in here, some smooth crabgrass. So we're going to hit that. And we're not going to get too close to the tree. It's safe to a certain extent, but we're not going to risk it with this Norway. It was just planted about a year ago, so we want to leave that as it is. I have a couple more shots over here with some crabgrass, and we're going to just go in there. There's some shooters, and let's go on to another part of the property. Okay, so we're over here in the edge of a garden, and there's some bluegrass growing up. These are smaller, so when we come back later and shoot the rest of this video, we'll be able to see if the smaller crabgrass was affected more quickly than those large, giant ones we saw over on the sidewalk. So we'll come on in here a little bit. Now, there's some garden in there a little ways, some beets, there's a sunflower here, so I'm going to keep this, lower the boom, right? I'm going to keep this spray nozzle really close and really tight to where the grass is. I don't know what the effect is on sunflowers, and I don't want to know. Better to just keep away. You might want to back up, cameraman. You don't want to walk in that. So we'll just go around this way. Here's another one. The label here says we want to keep everybody off this until it's dry. Now we have tons of crabgrass growing up here. Very healthy looking crabgrass. So we're going to hit this lightly. It's in its early stages. Normally, we don't get a lot of crabgrass in New York State until the end of July or August, but the areas that you're seeing them pop up is because the soil has been disturbed. So it was mixed up for this garden. That sidewalk had some work done on it. The grass in the back is new dirt that was brought in, so the grass seed was brought in, the actual crabgrass seed was brought in, and that crabgrass is saying, whoa, we've been moved around, we need to propagate and generate and keep our family going. So they're just jumping up at the first chance they get. Whereas normally in this lawn, we're going to see a lot more crabgrass in August, almost no crabgrass on this lawn at all, or other parts of the lawn on this property. And it's not treated with any herbicides at all. But we shall see in August what happens. So just one more thing on this Acclaim application. This is a contact herbicide, so it's not going to work to put it out all over the lawn or the golf course or whatever you want before the crabgrass germinates and comes up. The crabgrass has to be, at the very least, a seedling that's popped up or in its vegetative stage or even an adult. If you can't do a pre-treatment, let's say, like a pre-emergence for crabgrass, it'll have very little to no effect. So how do you know it's crabgrass? Sometimes, you're looking at the lawn and all the grass looks the same or it's the same color, and until you get really close you can't see those. Crabgrass is digitaris, it's fingers, so you can't see the fingers coming up. But this is a new area of lawn here. This tree was moved from here over to there for aesthetic purposes, and you can see new dirt was brought in, and as I said before, crabgrass usually doesn't come up here until about August, but the crabgrass has been up already for a month, and it's been mowed a couple times, but it keeps coming back. So you'll see the higher, or rather lighter green, the almost lime green color of that grass poking up. That's the crabgrass that's been cut with the mower, and it's fighting to keep growing. So I'm going to hit that, remember, we're only doing spot treatment here. The nice thing is this is an 80% blue, 20% rye. I don't have to worry about harming this new fresh bluegrass. It's young. It's only a few months old, but it's in good shape. It's been watered a lot and fertilized with an organic fertilizer. And we're just going to hit this now. We'll come back in a couple days. This is what I like about spot treating for crabgrass, where it's feasible. You know, if you have lots of crabgrass over acres of land, you're not going to spot treat. You'll use a hydraulic sprayer or something. But if you just have a few pieces of crabgrass or growths of crabgrass on your property, a good spot treatment's all you really need. Come on over here and take a look. You can see how these have grown out. They start out growing up and not really resembling crabgrass at all, and that's the sneaky thing about them. But as they mature, the fingers, the digits start to spread out. And what that does is, as it spreads out, it covers the grass that would normally grow there. So the seedlings, you can see under these tillers, there's little to no grass growing. And that crabgrass will suck all the water out and suck all the nutrients out of the ground, and it won't let any sunlight in. So we hate crabgrass. Buy crabgrass. And we've got a little bit in these areas. Now you can see there's some clover mixed in with this crabgrass. I'm going to watch the winds blowing that way. It's always, and there's some plantain mixed in with the crabgrass. And it looks like a couple lamb's quarters and some weed seed. I don't know exactly what it is. Lots of clover though. So when we come back in a couple days, we're going to see if we know that at that stage Acclaim's definitely going to have an effect on the Digitaris. But will it have an effect on the clover? I don't know. Will it have an effect on the plantain? I don't know. There are other products that are specifically designed for broadleaf weeds like plantain. You have Speed Zone. An interesting thing about Acclaim is they don't want you to mix it with any of the products that have dicamba in them and some of the other mecoprops, some of the other different pesticides, rather herbicides. It reduces the effectiveness of the Acclaim. So Acclaim should primarily be used alone. Tank mixing, it's not always the best idea. On the label there is a list of products that you cannot or should not tank mix with, so that'll help you. There's fertilizers that you should or should not mix with, again on the label, and we'll go over that in a different section. So a couple of days ago we hit this area with Acclaim, and it rained about a day and a half later. It started raining, so it got really bright sunlight the first day, but then we had rain. And this product Acclaim on this crabgrass we're looking at works a lot better when it's just pure sun. But you can already see, even in this late stage of the plant, that chlorosis, the yellowing of the leaves or the tillers, is starting to occur. So we're on the second full day, and already the Acclaim has already taken effect. Now, we also treated, there was a little bit of drift from the product, and we had crabgrass in different areas, but you'll notice the crabgrass, rather the Acclaim, has not had a big effect on these other weeds that are on this sidewalk. Or really, we can't tell if it's had any effect at this point. We'll know more in a couple days, but Acclaim is not a broad spectrum herbicide. It's a narrow spectrum herbicide relative to certain things like Roundup and Speed Zone. But you can see it's already taking effect. We'll come back in a day or two and see what this plant looks like. We also treated these young shoots of crabgrass here, and you'll notice they're starting to yellow as well. So the product is doing its job, much like the manufacturer says it will. And we'll get down here. Let's come a little closer. Here's some crabgrass, if I can get it in the shot. There we go. And you can see this one, it's
even more pronounced toward the base. We're starting to get little spots on the leaves, and that's when you know it's really taking effect. Little yellow spots where the green is going away, the chlorophyll is dissolving or breaking down. That's how you know this product is working. Now this area is new lawn that was just put down about a month ago. It hasn't been treated with any pesticides, rather any herbicides, prior to the Acclaim treatment 2 days ago. So this is just being allowed to grow up. It's been fertilized a little bit and watered. So 2 days ago, the Acclaim was sprayed on some of this crabgrass, and we're going to check now for some chlorosis. I can see it from here already. We'll compare these with the older shots when it was in full health, but you can see the plant is starting to break down already. And what I'm talking about when I say yellow spots are this yellowness here. This is a chlorosis occurring, and that shows that the plant is definitely on its way out. Now, these are really strong, these couple here, and it may take a little longer, but I can see that they're starting to yellow at the stems already as well. As we back out from this shot, now we treated this crabgrass, so some of these other weeds were hit as well. And we'll have to do a comparison with an older shot, but it doesn't look like they're being affected. And that's what you would expect with Acclaim, being that it's narrow spectrum. It's not going to just kill every weed out there. The greatest thing about it is it's not harming the grass. So there's no chlorosis in the grass. So we're very happy about that. The product is doing what the manufacturer says it'll do. These were spot treatments. Here's another spot that was hit 2 days ago with Acclaim, and we're already getting the crabgrass is starting to show signs of chlorosis, dying off. Now this one, it's going to be more pronounced in this crabgrass because it's younger, and the younger plants grow faster, the chemical has a greater effect. We have other weeds over here that are not showing effects yet, but it's very early. It's only been 2 days, so we want to wait. We won't judge this product at this point yet. It's not supposed to kill every weed out there like Roundup. It's just supposed to focus on certain ones. That's why we used it. But in a couple days, maybe 5 or 6 more days, it may have an effect on some of these other weed species, so we'll take a look at that in a few days. So we're in our crabgrass section here still, and this crabgrass was never treated, so it just sprouted up. But I just want to show you, there's generally there's a lot of different kinds of crabgrasses too. The main species are smooth crabgrass and hairy crabgrass. And you can tell hairy crabgrass because down by the stems, you can see these hairs. They're probably glistening there, okay? So that's hairy crabgrass. Just wanted to show you, and the hairs grow all the way up the stems. I guess if you like the plant, it's a beautiful plant, but people don't want it on their lawns. So I'm going to yank this. Integrated pest management using chemicals as our last resort. Look at the root on that thing. They're hard to get. Over here we have a smooth crabgrass, and you'll see there's no hairs on the stems. It's very smooth stems, a little bit different leaf structure, and we're going to do the same thing with this one. Chemical as the last resort, and that's it. So this crabgrass over here was treated actually 4 days ago. It was treated on a Tuesday, and then about 36 hours later, it rained, and then yesterday was Thursday, it was cloudy, and today it's getting to be bright and sunny and hot. So let's see the effect it's had. If we get in here, there's other weeds in here. The only thing that's ever been treated on this particular lawn is it's new seed. It's a couple months old, and the only thing that's been treated here is with the Acclaim. So we've let these weeds grow up. One of the reasons is we're not that all concerned. We know we can get them. But we also, with Acclaim, if you read the label on it, it says that
Kentucky bluegrass, when it starts sprouting initially, it could brown it out for a little while. And if it does that, it'll come back, the manufacturer claims, but we wanted to avoid that. And so we're not really treating these other things yet. But we've got these tall crabgrasses here. Here's a chafer. So we know we got some chafers in there that are going to probably eat the turf roots away. Let's take a look at what's happened to this particular plant. You can see a rippling around the edge of the leaf, and it's starting to die off. It's getting yellower on the stems and the leaves. There's spots forming over here, and the manufacturer says they're red spots, and they are kind of reddish along the sides. So you can see this is called chlorosis, these little dots in here. This is not normal for the plant to have these spots. That's where it's dying. Come on over here. We got the leaf curling here along the fringe, and the spots forming as well. The leaf curling, it's wilting. It's not getting the nutrients anymore. So this plant, even though it's got 1, 2, 3 big tillers, this one has about 5. Even though these are in their late tiller stage, the product's still working. Look at the chlorosis on this one. I mean, you can see it's bending over. The leaf has already lost its vigor, and this one as well. And this is just from an acclaim treatment. And generally, you don't want to wait until your crabgrass gets that big, but we wanted to show you that how the product might work even in the advanced stages of crabgrass. Most people would never let their crabgrass grow that big. We only did spot treatments here, which is a great way to reduce your pesticide use on lawns, if you can, if it's feasible in your particular situation. So here we have some crabgrass that was treated. Again, this is new seed that was put down this year, a few months ago. And you'll notice it's Kentucky Blue 80%, 20% rye. You'll notice it had no effect on the grass. So the acclaim has not harmed the grass at this point in any way 4 days later. But let's see if it's having an effect on the crabgrass. So these weren't really these tall ones are not in their tiller stage, these are just the leaf stage. But it's already turning yellow, okay? So you can see that leaf is turning yellow. Maybe we could do a comparison between bluegrass. See the difference? So there's healthy bluegrass, there's chlorosis beginning in the crabgrass. So it's not harming the bluegrass, it's harming the crabgrass. And we have a couple here with some tillers shooting out. This is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tiller, and it's turning yellow as well. We've got the rippling on the sides, which is just trademark of acclaim, and this spotting chlorosis, which is trademark of acclaim, showing that this product, or rather this piece of crabgrass, is dying off. And here's a bigger one, and again, initially you look at it and go, oh, that's a big hunk of crabgrass, still working good, but look, it's really turning yellow. It's got chlorosis here, it's weakening. This particular leaf is still strong, but it does have some yellowing. This whole plant's gonna die off. We're gonna keep checking on this in a few days. I have the urge to just pull this thing out, but we don't wanna do that because I wanna show you how long it takes. The manufacturer of this product, Acclaim, says it takes anywhere from 4 to 10 days or longer to kill the plant. But we can see it's already working. It was working on the third day actually, and a little bit on the second day. So here we have some really giant crabgrass, and this was sprayed. Normally, the manufacturer doesn't make any claim that a piece of crabgrass this big is going to be killed by Acclaim. They don't make that recommendation on their label. But it's already turning yellow, and here are the characteristic red streaks that are coming from the Acclaim. We got some hay in there. And the leaves are already beginning to fold in on themselves. They're yellowing. We've got some chlorosis here. These bottom leaves this is dead. This is bone dry. It's got the chlorosis and the reddening. So this is working. Now the key here, what we're going to find out, you can take a look at the one right next to it too. It's the similar type things are showing up. The key is going to be, does it kill the entire plant? In other words, do we let this plant get so big that, yeah, it's going to kill maybe 90% of it, but it's still going to be able to resprout. So we're going to keep an eye on this over the next couple weeks and see if it dies. We're not going to do a second application. We're just going to do this experiment with one application. So the crabgrass that was sprayed in this area, right through here, has had no effect on the bluegrass or the other weeds. Now this weed looks a little weak, but I think it's just because it's so hot today. It's almost 90 degrees. But we'll keep an eye on it over the next couple weeks, and we'll see if the, I think it's phenoxycrop, anyway, the Acclaim, if it's going to harm these other weeds. It really isn't supposed to. Now this piece of crabgrass was hidden in here. We don't know if we got him treated, but we're going to take a look. This is our third plot that we treated, and the reason we did this is there was a lot of various different weeds in here. There was some lamb quarters and some clovers and spurges and even some chickweed down on the bottom. You'll see these dead weeds over here. They were pulled a few days ago. But the crabgrass, if we come down, is starting to bend, weaken. It's getting the characteristic ripples on the leaf edge. It's yellowing. And this one, again, it's really late, but we wanted to see the effectiveness of Acclaim on a really mature piece of crabgrass. So this is the younger crabgrasses, and you can see the red's already forming on this. It's going to affect the young plants faster. We've got a lot of chlorosis in here, a lot of dying off. And this was sprayed the same time as the larger ones, but the larger ones take a little longer. But the interesting thing is it's not affecting any, yet anyway, these weeds. We're going to keep an eye on this over the next few weeks, and we'll see if it affects these weeds. This flower seems to be fine. Okay, so here we have a small spot treatment that we've done with Acclaim. You're going to see some other weeds here that have died off, and the Acclaim did not kill them. They were treated with Speed Zone for another program that we're producing. But we're going to focus in right now on just the crabgrass. And you can see over here, this crabgrass is yellowing. This is day 6, and we've got chlorosis and a reddening. This one's not going to make it. So you can see here as well, this piece of crabgrass got all red down on the bottom, and it just fell over. So it was no longer able to send nutrients up to the leaves. It's been very hot. It's been in the high 90s here for 3 days. So a plant's metabolism will naturally increase, and that works in our favor with any of these herbicides, because the faster the plant uptakes the material, the quicker it dies. We have a big hardy crabgrass right here, but he's not going to make it either. You can see the chlorosis, the reddening down on the stems. He's fighting it hard. Some of these leaves look like they're viable, but they're just a couple more days and they'll be gone totally. Here's another piece that's just falling over. We've got one over here that doesn't want to die, but he's gonna. See the yellowing spots and the red in the leaves? That shows that the Acclaim is working, and it's just a matter of time before he falls over, or someone does that. End of story. And we'll come over here. I think we have a couple that shot up. Here's some side ones, and they're curling right in. Very strong effect of the herbicide doing its job. These, for all intents and purposes, are history. I mean, we just left them here because we wanted to show you, but they're not going to make it. So a small spot like this, you may just come in and pull them, or you may have pulled them in the first place, but once they're mowed over, they're not going to propagate. Let's go on to another spot. Just as a side note, it's July 5th, and in the Northeast, we have Japanese beetles. So it's about time to start putting some traps out for them. This lawn has not been treated with an insecticide for grub control. We have another presentation on Japanese beetles, so we'll cover that in more depth. So this is an area of new grass from this year, a few months old. When the leaves of the crabgrass came up, we treated them. So you're going to see, now the manufacturer of a claim does not claim to treat. The first shoots that come up are not ideal, they say. They want you to wait till 1 to 3 tillers, that sort of thing. But my experience has been that the product works fine. And you can see here, the tillers haven't even formed yet. This was just the initial leaf, and the chlorosis came in. This is not going to make it. We have one down here. It's a little heavier. He's gonna die off. He's going through chlorosis as well. This one's folding in on itself. The stems at the bottom are turning red, so that's a sign of death, and he won't be here much longer. So I'm going to help him. Good. Very deep roots there. And again, another one here. Not going to make it. So I'm just going to pull him out to give the grass a little help. Now, if you notice, I did that. I took up some of the grass with it. So maybe it would have been a better idea to just let the product take its course and kill the plant off, and I would have saved all that grass. But that's the way it goes. So here we have, about 6 days ago, these are really giant, big crabgrass, okay? And you can see that the yellowing and the red, it's weak. We've had some rain, we've had warm weather. This plant should be vibrant and very powerful, but it's not. Although it's funny because this stem is coming out here and you can see it's tried to go to seed. It's trying to save itself. We're not going to let that happen. Let's see how easily this comes out. It doesn't. We got some more seeds here. And similar situation here. Everything's dying off. Very easy to pull. Nothing's holding it. It's not totally dead, but it's dead enough that it's not going to propagate and spread. And we have another one over here. About 99% history. Here's a little side note. Let's go over here. The acclaim was sprayed, but it was covered by this plant. So this one really didn't get hit. He might have got a couple spots. And remember, acclaim is a contact herbicide. It's not going to uptake through the roots and from other plants. So this one got lucky that day, but he's not lucky today. More of the same situation here. We let this crabgrass get really big. Now the manufacturer again claims, 5-6 tillers, it's going to have a tough time controlling it. But we just wanted to see how the acclaim did. It did a good job. These are ostensibly dead, and the other weeds around it, though, were not killed by the acclaim, if you'll notice. So, and it doesn't kill the grass either, which is a good thing. So, and this is a good example. We have very young crabgrass species here, and over to the right, some really tall, larger ones. And the acclaim is working equally well on both of them. Although I will say these young ones are putting up a good fight here. They're more vibrant in their vegetative stage, though, and it's taking them a little longer. But if you'll pan over here, you can see, though, they are drying out. They are showing the red spots and the chlorosis, so they're gonna be gone. It's just gonna take a little while because they were very strong. Okay, so this area was sprayed about 3 weeks ago with Speed Zone. No, I'm sorry, it was sprayed with acclaim, and you can see most of this was crabgrass growing in here. It never got a chance to take off. Down here to the left was not sprayed at all. So it gives you that contrast so you can know really how effective a product can be. Hi, I'm Kevin Hurley, the owner of PESTED. Thank you for watching our videos, and we hope that you subscribe because we're going to have a lot more videos coming up, and we'd appreciate your input if there's anything you'd like to see.